Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Bookshot. Today, I have a story for you that has traveled across generations, cultures, and hearts. It's not just a children's book, it's a timeless journey of discovery, love, and what it means to see the world with fresh eyes. This is The Little Prince. Sit back, relax, and let's step into this magical adventure together. The Boy from a Tiny Planet. Far away in the universe, on a planet no bigger than a house, lived a boy we called the Little Prince. His world was simple: 3 small volcanoes, one of which was extinct, and a daily task of pulling out dangerous baobab sprouts before they grow large enough to destroy his home. Life on this planet might seem lonely, but to him it was filled with meaning. Then came the day his flower appeared. She was unlike anything else he had ever seen. Graceful, elegant, with petals soft as silk. But she was also proud, a little demanding, and sometimes difficult. She would speak in riddles, ask for attention, and occasionally act cold. The prince cared for her deeply, but he didn't know how to handle her vanity. Feeling hurt and confused, he decided to leave his planet and search the stars for answers. The journey through the planets. His travels took him to many strange worlds. On the first, he met a king who sat on a grand throne, claiming to rule over everything. Yet when the prince asked him to command the sun to set, the king replied that it would, but only when the time was right. His power was an illusion, authority without real meaning. On the next planet lived a conceited man who wanted nothing more than applause. "Clap for me," he begged. The prince found it silly. What joy is there in admiration if it isn't freely given? The third planet belonged to a drunkard, who sat among bottles. When the prince asked why he drank, the man said it was to forget his shame. And what was he ashamed of? Of drinking. The prince felt both sorrow and confusion. On the fourth planet, a businessman spent his life counting stars, convinced that by writing down numbers in a ledger he somehow owned them. But he never looked at their beauty. He never even paused to admire the night sky. To the prince, it was the emptiest kind of wealth. The fifth world was the smallest, just big enough for a lamplighter and his lamp. Because the planet spun so quickly, day and night lasted only a minute. The lamplighter spent his entire life lighting and extinguishing the lamp, never resting. Unlike the others, the prince admired this man's devotion. At least he was faithful to something beyond himself. Finally, on the sixth planet, he met a geographer. This man recorded mountains, rivers, and oceans in great books, but he had never seen them himself. He depended on others to explore for him. When the prince mentioned his rose, the geographer dismissed it as unimportant because flowers are temporary. This wounded the prince, but it also planted a seed of realization. Perhaps what is fleeting is the most precious of all. Arrival on Earth. At last the prince arrived on Earth. The planet was vast and filled with people, but he landed in a desert where the silence was endless. One day he wandered into a garden overflowing with roses, thousands of them, all as beautiful as his flower back home. He was devastated. His rose had told him she was unique, the only one of her kind. Now he saw she was not alone. Heartbroken, he lay down on the grass, believing his love and care had been meaningless. The Fox and the Secret of the Heart. But soon he met a fox who asked to be tamed. The prince didn't understand at first. To tame meant to create a bond, to become important to each other. The fox explained that once tamed, even ordinary things become extraordinary. A field of wheat would always remind him of the prince's golden hair, and though there were thousands of roses, the prince's rose would be special because of the time, care, and love he had given her. From the fox, the prince learned the greatest secret of all. What is essential is invisible to the eye. It is only with the heart that one can see clearly. This wisdom changed him forever. He now understood that his rose was unique, not because of how she looked, but because she was his rose. The Snake and the Return Home. While on Earth, the prince also encountered a snake, who spoke in riddles and hinted that he had the power to send the boy back to his star. The snake's bite would free him from his body and allow him to return home. As days passed, the prince grew closer to the pilot he had met in the desert, who was struggling to repair his plane. They shared conversations about the stars, childhood, and the strange ways of adults. Yet the prince knew his time was short. He needed to return to his rose. One evening, under the stars, the snake struck. The prince's small body fell quietly into the sand, but he had no fear. He believed he was simply going home. The legacy of the prince. What remains is not sadness, but wonder. The prince's journey shows that adults often lose themselves in power, vanity, possessions, or empty routines, while forgetting what truly matters. Through the rose and the fox, this story reminds us that love, responsibility, and the invisible bonds we create give life its meaning. And so, whenever we look at the stars, we might imagine the little prince smiling back, reminding us to see the world not with tired eyes, but with the wonder and openness of a child. That was the story of the Little Prince, a tale that crosses generations, reminding us that the most valuable things in life cannot be measured, bought, or owned. They can only be felt. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey, please give the video a like, subscribe to Bookshot for more timeless stories, and share in the comments which book you want me to summarize next time. Until next time, keep imagining, keep caring, and never forget the magic of looking at the world with the heart. Goodbye.